Hi, and welcome to Creatively Speaking. My name's Nicole Marchluck. Today I'm here with Amanda Mayer from Nerdtastic. Welcome, Amanda.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming. Okay, my first question. How did you get into the nerd niche?
I've always been a nerd, so it was kind of easy to fall into it while I was doing crafts. My grandfather introduced me to Star Trek when I was probably like 5 or 6. And so it kind of grew from there. I've always kind of been a creative person, so when I started making things, it's just everything became nerdy. And what I do is where I'm at.
That's really cool.
It's fun.
So, what do you consider a nerd?
A nerd is anybody who has one thing they're super obsessed with and that they've become an expert on it. Will Wheaton's the one that actually came up with that definition, and I kind of go with it. So you don't have to be a nerd about Doctor Who or sci-fi. You be a nerd about cooking. You could be a nerd about fitness. It's whatever you're obsessed with, and that's
like
what you know.
definition.
So it's all encompassing. So we can nerd about a lot of things.
See, that way everybody's a nerd.
Exactly. You're a nerd about something whether you know it or not.
That's great. So, what was your very first piece? How did you get started in this?
The real beginning for Nerdtastic was my wedding. I did a do-it-yourself wedding because, of course, I got married, don't tell my husband, how long ago was it? A little over a year ago. And we wanted to do superhero theme. And, of course, Pinterest was big coming up, and everything was do-it-yourself this, do-it-yourself that. And, you know, there's things I wanted to do. I started looking around at prices and, like, you know what, I am going to do it yourself. And so I started with cufflinks for the groomsmen. And once I learned how to make cufflinks, it kind of, you know, started rolling and rolling, and it became everything else. I'm like, well, I could do this, but I want to learn to make this now and learn to make this. And I was an art major for a bit in school, too, so I kind of got back into being artsy and creating graphics and things for myself. So it all kind of fell hand in hand. That's where I began.
So it started with cufflinks.
It did.
Very interesting. So you've only been doing this for about a year now?
Yeah.
Wow. And it's grown quite a bit in 1 year.
I know. It started off as like a little corner of our basement, and now it's all over the basement. It's in the dining room now. It's in my office. It's all over the house.
So this has become a full-time, or is it still just a hobby?
Well, it's still part-time job is what I call it.
Okay.
We're past the hobby phase, but we're not ready to, well, I'm not ready. I'd say we, like there's many of me, you know, doing it, but I'm not quite ready to jump full-time yet. So we're getting there. That's the 5-year plan.
Okay, okay. And you mostly do small shows, and I know you have a website. Where else can people find your products?
Well, first nerdtastic.net, that points directly to my shop. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, I'm on all the social media, but I do go to local craft shows and conventions as well. So I do a lot of the smaller cons and then the bigger cons like Wizards.
So okay, you went to your very first Wizard World Comic-Con here in Chicago.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was awesome. Like, I don't have the words to describe how much fun I have. I'm like, it was awesome, it was amazing. I mean, it was a whole new experience because I had been there as, you know, an attendee before. I've been there, I think, 3 years in a row, and you know, going to see all the artists and everything, and I was just in awe. And I knew, I'm like, I want to eventually be on the other side making things and just making people excited and happy. So just being on the other side of the table as a seller and seeing people appreciate what I do, but then also seeing how, you know, people will walk through and they're like, oh my God, somebody gets me. I connect with you, you know, and you understand me, kind of thing. And it was just rewarding and fun, and I don't know how to describe it. I loved it.
That was great. So it was a great feeling, and
Absolutely.
you were warmly received by everybody?
Absolutely. It was. I would definitely do it again. Actually, I signed up for next year, so I'm definitely doing it again next year. You know, I already signed the contract. So.
Are you going to try and do more big conventions like that?
I am. I'm going to be doing WindyCon in November, so that'll be coming up. And then I have some smaller ones too. There's the Chi-Town Ultimate Comic-Con that's on October 11th, and see what else? The Collector Con down in Kankakee.
Wow.
So a lot of different shows going on.
I never even realized there were so many different conventions.
I didn't either until you kind of go down the rabbit hole. You start with one, and then they're like, well, I'm doing one here and I'm doing one here, and then you meet a lot of people, and you know, they start.
It's a great networking tool, too.
Exactly. And everybody's great. You know, everybody just loves what they do, and to be in all these different genres and talk about comic books and TV shows. And
you cover quite an array. So
absolutely.
what program programs and or shows or topics do you cover in your items?
As much as I can.
Oh, okay.
The biggest ones are Harry Potter and Doctor Who right now.
Okay.
Those are the top two that sell out almost every single show. But then I have other things, like my kids love Percy Jackson. That's their newest love, and I'm into those books too. So that's been really up and coming and big for me. So I've been having fun doing coasters, and my lip balm is actually my biggest seller on Etsy right now for Percy Jackson. So that's the next one. Oh gosh, what else? Star Trek, I have Star Wars. Let me see, what's on my table here? Let's see, I've got some Alice in Wonderland.
I saw some Firefly
yes,
over here.
There is Firefly bracelet. I've got Sherlock.
And some Spaceballs
I do have
there.
Spaceballs. This one here's my eye catcher when I go to shows. I have Spaceballs pillowcase, which ends up on one of my racks. And like people see that from across the way, and then they'll come over to the table and they kind of check everything else. That's my eyepiece that I try to get folks to
it
go
works,
to.
yeah.
Absolutely. You always have to have one.
And you're not getting any tension from other vendors at these shows or anything?
No, everybody seems to be really supportive. Like, I don't really recall having a negative experience with another vendor. I'm like, sometimes we get a little crabby. It's really early when we get there, you know, but everybody's loving what they do. And we all have a different take on how to make something. Like, I can make, I don't know, butterbeer for Harry Potter, and I make it my way in my lip balms, but another soaper, they might make it their way. Or, you know, maybe I do a Doctor Who TARDIS necklace. Well, this person's doing one, but they're beating it different. And so we all have different ways and styles, so we're not really jumping on each other's toes while we're doing it.
So it more becomes like a family, and
Absolutely.
and you just everybody embraces each other at these shows. That's really cool. So what's your favorite item of the items you sell?
Right
Can
now,
you pick a favorite?
It's hard because everything's my baby, you know, and it's kind of like putting my soul out there too. So I'm a little bit nervous when I bring things to shows. Like, why don't people like me? Why don't they like my thing? But I'm like, I can't take it personally because not everybody likes my thing. But to get back to the actual question, I like tangents. Did you notice?
Oh, that's okay. I think we all do. I go off on all weird tangents. Oh yeah.
Lip balm right now is my favorite thing to make. That's like the newest thing I've learned to do. Those are chilling right there, and then hand stamping. So I've been making little hand stamp tags that have different quotes from shows, Stargate was the newest one I made. So I made little dog tags for the characters that have their names and SG1 on it for each team. But,
that's really cool.
Yeah, so they've been really well received, especially the lip balm, because one is on a business standpoint, it's a quick little grab as you're going out, but then it also celebrates different things from fandoms. I was using a lot of drinks and food from different series. So people are like, oh my gosh, you have Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Nobody has Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you know, and so it's kind of fun to see, well, what do you think that smells like?
Do you have some Romulan ale in there?
I do, actually.
Oh, you do?
I
Wow.
do. Let me see if I pulled it out. It might actually be sitting in the box, and then I'm a big liar. Oh, it's sitting in the box. But I do have it. It's blueberry and basil, and I dye it blue if people request it.
So you can do special orders too?
I do.
Custom orders?
Yes, I'm actually working on one tonight. Somebody wanted a Halloween-scented one, so I'm doing Nightmare Before Christmas, and it's called Pumpkin King. It's going to taste like, or not taste like, smell like pumpkin pie. Don't eat the lip balm. It's not good. Well,
That's a good warning, if you want.
You can, it's all natural, but I don't recommend eating the lip balm.
Yeah, I mean, if it smells so good.
Exactly.
But it is an all natural product?
Yes. I can't say it's not vegan friendly.
Oh, yeah.
Some of it is, but depending on like the oil, you know, but I try to go as natural as possible with the waxes and the oils that I use. And I don't put dyes in it unless it's requested. Some folks want Romulan ale to be blue. Some don't want, you know, extra blue coloring in it. So if you want it, I'll do it. You know, if not, I leave them all clear.
So the most popular item is the lip balm?
It is.
Okay.
It depends on the show too. It varies.
Yeah. So give me a quick rundown of the types of items you have. I see a clock, your lip balms.
Yes.
What other kind of items do you?
We've got the coasters, which are great with. I don't want to say just with the guys, but the guys lean more towards the coasters. Because a lot of the ladies love the coasters too, depending. Because I have movie quotes, I have maps from Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, things like that. So those are pretty popular. Potion necklaces. I'm doing key clips too, because a lot of people, we have a lot of necklaces. Maybe we want something for our bag, charm bracelets. I do some earrings, hairpins. Usually at shows I'll have posters, magnets. So it's a wide variety. I kind of want to be a target of nerding out.
Oh yeah, I mean
one-stop shop.
Exactly.
Everything here.
And you have your pillowcases, which you can find on the website.
Yes.
And you cover everybody.
I try to as much as possible. You know, I know there's different genres I don't have, but I have a little notebook I keep every single show, and I'm like, if something's asked for 3 times or more, then I'll start making something for it. You know, whether it's a necklace or a lip balm, it's like I will find you something because I want to cover as many people as I can. Because we all get excited when we find that thing that we love.
Oh yeah, and you're catching in on a group that's really popular right now.
Absolutely.
I mean, even the people who don't want to admit they're nerdy. I mean, especially like Game of Thrones, it's pulling in all different types of people and everything. And Harry Potter was just so big.
I know, and it still is.
And even mainstream is catching on to these shows and everything. And so nerd culture has just exploded.
Exactly.
And,
it's
and
huge.
these conventions are just
And
popping up all over the place.
Exactly, and there's so many here and there. Like, I'm from Pittsburgh, so we had maybe 2 a year. That was it. So coming up here and seeing all these different types and all these different genres is just mind-blowing to me. And
well,
it's
yeah, and then there's
awesome.
C2E2, and then there's I think there's a TARDIS convention in the suburbs.
And I'm not going to be here that weekend,
Oh,
too,
no.
and I'm so mad.
I know,
I'm
because
like,
it's right after
really?
Thanksgiving.
Exactly,
so, yeah.
I'm going to be out of town. I'm like, oh, I'm going to miss the TARDIS convention. Really?
Oh, well, you'll have to do it for next year.
That's my plan.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
my plan.
So you mentioned 5-year plan. How do you want to expand, or do you just want to just more shows, or spread out past Chicagoland area? And
I would love if shows were what I did all the time. I would like to have my own shop at some point. Now, I don't know if it would just be me and only my stuff, or maybe open it up to geek crafters, and you know, everybody has a little slot, and then we all have a store that we sell out. That would be amazing to me. Because when I went to college, I wanted to be, well, I was an art student for a bit, as I mentioned, but I also was a business major. And I always did that because I wanted my own thing, whether it was a comic book store or something like that. And so I think that would really be, you know, my ultimate goal is to have my own shop that would go to conventions to promote my brand and get that audience and things. And I know I'm doing a show up in Wisconsin in January, the Midwinter Gaming Convention.
Oh, wow.
So hopefully I got that name right, so hopefully they'll get mad at me if I get it wrong. And you quit glancing at your camera, too.
oh, no, that's okay. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, I'm going to be doing that in Wisconsin. I did Steel City Con in Pittsburgh because I have family back there. So I'm trying to get at least 1 or 2 outside of Chicago just to get another audience.
Well, in a couple of years, you're going to be so big, they're going to invite you to San Diego.
I hope so,
for
right?
The big one.
Be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
The pictures and the costumes and everything that comes out of that.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
Wow. And so, like, a perfect location would probably be next to a comic book store. So if you could find a space next to a comic book store, you'd be feeding off the same customer and spread it. Oh, yeah.
I've seen some that have done pretty well. Like in California, they have the comic book store and they call you know, the geeky shop next to it or whatever. And so if I can find something like that, it'd be perfect. But I got to keep my eyes open.
Yeah.
Around town.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard. I mean, starting a business.
Absolutely.
So if somebody wanted to start a business like similar to yours, what advice would you give them?
To start doing stuff like this, basically learn your craft first, because it's really hard to lose your focus and get, I won't say distracted, but you jump from one thing to another. So it's kind of start with one item, do it really well, and then learn something else. And then once you kind of figure that out and can market it and find out what you're good at, it's always easier to expand from that point. But don't be afraid to do it either. Because for the longest time, I'm like, oh, I can never do that. These people are so talented, so good. And I kept talking myself out of going online and sharing my ideas. And once I dove in, I'm like, what was I waiting for? You know, so don't be afraid of it and just go do it. There's a lot of supportive people online, too. There's a lot of crafter groups on Facebook that I belong to, and we're all about supporting each other and helping market each other and, you know, cross-promoting advertising. I say, you know, like you do it, you know. You know what I mean, right?
Oh, yeah. It's about getting your word out.
Absolutely.
And getting your name out there and just networking and just getting yourself out there. Now, you mentioned, do you have to have a thick skin when you're starting your own business?
You do. It's very easy to get overprotective about your own work and get really sensitive if a customer doesn't like it, or just another fan of your webpage doesn't like something you're doing. You know, you can take it personally, and it would just ruin your whole day. I mean, there's been times where at the beginning I'm like, why am I doing this? I just need to quit. So I'm like, you can't please everybody all the time.
Yeah.
You know, out of 100 customers, one may not be happy. I wish they all were happy. That's what I'm here to make everybody happy, but you have to kind of let it go and learn from it. That's what I do. I'm like, well, what could I do different so that this doesn't happen again?
So it's all about sticking with it.
Exactly.
And just
and rolling with it, roll with
Yeah.
the punches, and just it's a learning experience. If you have a negative, turn it into a positive and continue on.
Yeah, that's
Don't quit.
that's the big thing. Learn from every comment.
Exactly.
And don't take it personally.
Exactly.
Just, yeah. So what item is next on your agenda to do?
My mile-long to-do
List,
list.
yeah.
I have so many items that I want. I'm working on Christmas ornaments now because I kind of want to find a way to bring nerdy to Christmas trees as well.
I love
so
it.
I started doing. Actually, they're up there on the side. My daughter calls them my twisted words ornaments on the
okay.
left-hand side.
Right there, yeah.
That one's Nightmare Before Christmas, and I hand stamp around an aluminum strip. And then I twisted it and I put it on the hook. So those are going to start going with me to shows, and we'll see how they fare. But I like hand
they look
stamping.
pretty
I like,
cool,
They
yeah.
look neat. And you don't really know what it is, from far away. But when you get up close and start reading it, you're like, oh wait, that's from Elf. That's
Yeah.
from Nightmare. You know?
Yeah. And I think with the little crystal and everything, it'll pick up the Christmas lights really well. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm like, well, and if people don't like it, I've got a lot of really cool ornaments for my own Christmas tree.
There you go. You can give them out as gifts too.
Exactly. I'm
Yeah.
like, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea.
My oldest daughter always hopes, she's like, if that doesn't sell, do we get to keep it? I'm like, well, we're going to hope it sells first.
Yeah. Mom's got to pay for all the stuff
Exactly,
that
right?
she used. Yeah. Because I bet it's quite an investment to start a business like this.
It is. That's actually another thing for beginners, too.
yeah.
You are going to put a lot of money into it before you start seeing the return on it. And you have to. I mean, you have to start with supplies.
Yeah.
But it's nice once you do start seeing the rewards for it. And you are starting to sell them and doing the bigger shows. Oh, I can actually pay myself this month
Yeah.
instead of just buying supplies. It's great.
How long did it take you before you about broke even or started showing a profit?
My problem was I didn't keep a good enough track of
okay.
everything. So the last couple months, as I've started doing the bigger shows and getting bigger and better with things, that now I'm starting to keep track better, and I can pay myself, a salary for doing things. So I'd say maybe up to, I would say, not quite a year. So 7-8 months it took me. So.
But I bet you had a nice supportive family. That helps too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My husband, he loves that I'm doing something that makes me happy, because he works nights, so it gives me something to do at night while he's not at home.
Yeah.
And I watch TV, obviously. I watch TV.
Yeah.
But it's like I can't just sit there and watch
yeah.
TV. I have to be doing something. So I say some people knit, and I twist wires or something like that. That's what I do.
It shows that it's a passion. That
Yes.
it's not just let's throw some things together to sell.
Right.
But you're actually putting
Right.
your
I care
feelings
about them.
into it. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's one thing there's some things that are made to order and people can mass order from me if they want to, but I try to make everything unique. So I put a lot of attention and care into each little piece because I don't like things being all the same. That's one of the reasons I like hand stamping actually, is because
each one's gonna be
it's going to be different every time.
Yeah. And it just shows. It shows that you really care about this and that you love it. That this is what
It's
you
blast.
like. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I bet it's hard to sell it because you feel like you're selling a piece of yourself
I know,
every time.
right?
Yeah.
A little bit of my soul leaving, but it's okay as long as it brings somebody joy. It's like even for the shows I do that, sometimes it's a bust. You don't know what you're going to get when you go to a show, but as long as I make one person happy and they get it and they're just excited about it, then it's all worth it.
I bet it feels great when a little kid just sees something that they like. Their eyes light up, and
Yes,
it's like, oh,
it does.
oh my God, that's Harry Potter, and
Yes. And there's actually another level to it too, because back when we were in high school, it wasn't cool to be a nerd.
Oh, no.
Especially a girl being a nerd.
Oh, yeah.
I was the only one. I was shopping like the boys section to get the X-Men T-shirts and the Batman T-shirts, and you were the oddball out. And it's not as bad these days, but you still can see the kids going through the conventions and stuff who you can tell that like this is the place they finally feel home with. So then you get that connection with them, like I was you at that age, and then they feel better and they're happy because people understand them and they get them and they're not alone out there, being the odd one that likes comic books or, whatever series and, game they like. So it's pretty rewarding.
Oh yeah, they see thousands of people
Yeah.
dressed in costumes
Exactly.
too, or buying things that they like.
Yes.
And
High school's tough, so